Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a C.A.T.S, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow podcast.
Hello, cats. It's Kristen, and I'm here with Brooke Dukes. Hi, Brooke.
Hi, Kristen. How are you?
I'm awesome. I was reading your bio and thinking about all the times that when you want to leave that job, you're waking up at 3 a.m. thinking, what am I thinking? I can't stay, but I can't go. Like, what do you think happens for all of us?
Yeah, I feel that it's happened to me a few times in my career, right?
Yeah.
Those transitions. And I feel like we are just pulled. I view life as we're here to find our purpose and to share it with the world. And so our journey is transitioning through different things that are moving us closer to our purpose. So specifically women in my age group, when you wake up and it's, okay, is this all there is? I have reached the success that I thought was going to make me happy, and I'm not. Like, what now? And so it's to me, it's that pull to really start living a life that's going to give us fulfillment.
It's kind of interesting. I feel like it could also flow both ways. Like maybe you've been an entrepreneur for a while and you're like, gosh, I just want to try something different. Maybe I want to go back into a corporate position. I've seen that with some of the clients that I've worked with. And then the other thing is, you're sitting there, you're a C-suite level or higher, in a corporation, and you're just like you said, you got those golden handcuffs on.
Right. Yeah, because you're terrified, you're afraid of failure. You don't want to give up the financial security that you've built. You have a lot of success, you have a lot of experience. And a lot of the women that come to me, they don't know how to package that. Like I've done so many things in my life, but I don't know what that looks like. And really getting them to look at what lights you up and then aligning that with their experience and really what the world needs, because we can't always just do exactly what we want. There may not be a market for it. So there's that part too.
Yeah, exactly. How do you think that you can kind of make peace with the need to make a transition? You're like, okay, I'm going to do it, and then you're waiting and a week goes by and then a month goes by and then 6 months goes by and then a year goes by. I mean, you get it, right? Like, when is that right moment? And what do you think you need to have in place?
I can speak from personal experience. For me, the right moment was when I was finally just honest with myself.
Well, there is that.
You know what? I'm not happy.
Right.
And it's okay, because the outside world, I mean, I should have been. And so I judged myself a lot. There was a lot of guilt and some shame that went along with that. And when I could just be honest and say, I'm not happy. Okay, then look at, what is it that's going to make me happy? What does that look like? And just really, it's the awareness piece of it. What are the things when you're doing them that you feel really good when you're doing it? And you have a way to give you that leverage is you're not showing up as your best self for your family, for your coworkers, for anyone, when you're not living a life filled with purpose, when you're not happy, right? We know we're more successful when we're happy. We're better employees, we're better mothers, the list goes on and on. So we owe it to ourselves and everyone in our lives to find out, what is that? Right. And really do the hard work, because it's not easy.
I
Kristen.
was just going to say, I mean, that sounds kind of easy, but unlocking
Oh,
what actually makes you happy, especially if you're, somebody who has a partner, you have children, you are maybe even caregiving for a parent, like, you don't have time to think about yourself or what makes you happy. Then you're, an executive. I mean, how do you sort through all of that and unlock the happy code?
Yeah, and I think that that's a big piece of it. That's what I work with
Mhm.
women, is helping them to get past the fear, because that's the first roadblock. That's why we don't do things, right? That's why we get stuck in kind of the gray area of things. And also, to your point, people in our lives may not be thrilled about us making a change.
Right. What do you mean? Where are you going?
Right, they rely on us. So helping
Mhm.
to really, one, to get them to understand that it's necessary, and then to have those tough conversations with the people in their lives. And to tell them, or like, what's in it for them. Well, the reality of it is they want to know, how is it? Yes, it might be tough at the
How's
beginning.
this going to work?
Yeah, but here's why, how we're going to come out. So having a vision is big, right? That measurable and painting that vision for yourself to give you leverage to keep moving on when it's really hard, and for the people in your lives. So they know, they understand, it makes it less scary for them when they know what you're working towards. So you just don't look crazy.
Well, you don't want to look crazy,
No.
even if we might be just like a little bit crazy.
Well, you know, it's
Crazy
easy
is kind of
to
fun
feel
though.
crazy.
But so let's circle back to the fear. Okay. I want to go back to the fear for just a minute and, dig into that, because the fear is a big deal. I mean, if you're feeling a lot of fear, or maybe you feel calm, but others in your life are like, oh my gosh, what's this going to look like? How do
Yeah.
you begin that journey of either untangling this fear or working around it? I mean, what's your strategy?
Yeah, so there's so many different layers to fear. So let's talk
Yeah.
about one, right? And
How
that's
much time do we have? No.
right, exactly. One, it could be perfectionism. Many very successful people, not just women, it's perfectionism. So really looking at what's at the root of that. Well, what's at the root of perfectionism is unworthiness, right? It's fear
Wow.
of failure. And it's really looking at, you don't want to look bad. You don't want to be embarrassed. It really matters to you what other people think. There's so many people, women in particular, everything looks perfect on the outside and we are falling apart on the inside. We do
It's
that.
a lot of effort to keep that facade going. I'm telling you, to keep that whole perfection thing. And, it's interesting making that connection around unworthiness. It's like, where do we get that message in our lives, even when we were a kid, that we're not worthy, we're not enough? And how can we begin that healing journey around that?
Yeah, and it's a lot of awareness, because you've got
Mhm.
to, one, recognize that, okay, I'm a perfectionist and it's probably hurting me. Some people, you hear people say, I'm a perfectionist, but it's good, it drives me. No, it doesn't. Because most of the time you procrastinate because you're afraid of making a mistake. A lot of times, you will not do certain things that you need to do. You will not delegate, right? There's so many different ways it
Is there
shows up.
anybody out there listening who does any of those things?
So you've really got to take a step, slow down, and become aware of how does it show up in your life, because it is different. There are various different ways, right? And really look at and journal, meditate, whatever it is that you do to really help you to see, how does this show up in my life? Because then and only then can you begin to change it. If
That's
you don't,
true. I mean,
if
if
you're
it's
not
a
even paying
blind spot, it's just a blind spot, and so it just kind of sits there.
attention. Absolutely. And you can talk to people in your life. If you have buried this so deep that you can't even see it, talk to people in your life, because they know.
They see it.
Guaranteed they will be able to tell you.
It's like your hot pink
Yeah,
t-shirt.
exactly.
That's so funny. So what do you have a mantra? Do you have some like philosophy or saying that carries you forward?
I really believe that we were put on this earth to live a purpose driven life, and we must share that with the world. And that's what I do, why I do what I do. Because every single woman that I work with, I was in some way in their spot, right? And I didn't have other women to talk to because we were all busy pretending that everything was perfect and we had no problems. So I really wanted to be that sounding board, and I wanted to teach other women how to support and empower the women in their lives, because we don't do a great job of that. That is one of the areas that men do better than we do. They mentor each other, they support each other, they
Like
prop
all
each other up.
together?
Yeah, we don't do that. And we need to be honest with ourselves and with the other people in our lives to show that we're not alone. So many of us feel, I know I felt it. I felt isolated and alone. I felt like a failure as a mother, as a professional. Why am I not happy? I should be. Everyone else is. The list goes on. And we've just got to help each other.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That's the whole reason I decided to go ahead and put C.A.T.S Network together, because I just felt all of us, coaches, authors, thought leaders, we're in the helping business. So we spend all of our days on Zoom calls, helping helping people, helping our clients, creating our copy, posting on our social media, but we're kind of isolated, and you can't go back to your client and say, oh, hey, by the way, I'm having my own struggles today. Do you mind if I bounce something off of you? Like screeching halt, so where do you go with that if your whole day is just filled with Zoom calls, helping everybody else?
Well, I have mentors. So
Right.
that was one thing early on in my career when I looked around. So about 20 years ago, actually, I was in corporate America, had a life-changing event, and decided I was leaving, and looked around and said, I have no one to talk to, no women, no. And so I really made it a point to find women mentors. And so I, like you, also, when I started, I've been with a consulting firm for 16 years. I worked with hundreds of companies and executives. And just 2 years ago, I decided to really focus on women. And I also put a community component in there because I didn't want them to just have my voice.
Right.
I wanted them to have other people in the community that were going through similar things, because even though we feel so alone and isolated and we're the only one, we're not.
Lo and behold.
Right. So I wanted to
Oh my God, how did 50 people get in this room?
Exactly.
I love it. So what's next for you?
Let's see. I have a book coming out in August. I have,
Tell us about that.
So it is, this is the working title. Is This All There Is? And it's really my story on what happened when 20 years ago, when I woke up and decided and really recognized I'm not happy. I'm unfulfilled. What do I do about it? And it's truly that journey. And that's what I put together for my coaching, whether it's group or one-on-one or online programs, is helping people to understand, what lights them up, what's standing in their way, what do they want, how do they create a plan to get there, and supporting them.
Very important questions to answer for yourself. So where can we find you?
Well, my website has some updates going right now, but it will be up again next week at brookemdukes.com, and then on every social media, Brooke Dukes, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all on there.
Thank you so much for being on the Big Meow.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at C.A.T.S Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message.